Look at this. I'm next to a fireplace. Ow. Just kidding. Wow, it really shows that you care. This aesthetically pleasing fireplace only means one thing, and that is book review time. Normally, I only read fiction books, but Matt Haig's Notes on a Nervous Planet really caught my attention. I first heard about this author through his other book, The Midnight Library. And before you ask, I did not hear it from TikTok. I still think that TikTok is just, Fortnite dances. Maybe I'm just getting old. And that kind of shows by the amount of grey hairs that I'm starting to get. I found that the Midnight Library's writing style had a flow of simplicity to it. And not in a bad way. I mean just a book that you can comfortably read before you go to sleep. Something to read that wasn't too strenuous. Like a warm blanket. Similarly. I'd glanced at Notes on a Nervous Planet for a long time, but I didn't know if I wanted to pick it up or not. I wanted to learn about how to cope with stress and anxiety in the modern world, as I've experienced anxiety, whether from light waves that only slightly brush my skin, or whether through massive tsunamis that have knocked me off my feet for many months on end. I didn't want to read another general self-help book about how to cope with anxiety, and something that will barely help me when I'm deep within the source. Luckily, Matt Haig has a simplistic and digestible way of learning how to cope on this nervous planet, one that's so interconnected but yet disconnected at the same time. Many key problems are discussed, and some of them hit a little too close to home. The book is split up into many chapters, each dissecting problems with the modern world and how ourselves can deal with it. Although this book has less flow compared to his other work, in a sense is more scattered. But there seems to be an intentionality to this. It shows how muddled and confusing the modern world is, and how nothing is really a straight or linear path. It just shows the disorders and confusion of everyday life. There is a genuine reflection that he talks about the panic attacks in the shopping mall, which kind of shows that he has done a lot of research, but at the end of the day, he's basing it off his own experiences. There are many definitions of a nervous planet. The one that initially popped into my head before even reading the book, that we define our lives based on the successes of ourselves and comparing our successes to other people, whether through education, work, or relationships. It always makes us feel anxious and the sense that we may be behind in life, even if that is not the case. And this whole thing is exacerbated by social media. However, another definition, which to be honest, I should have thought about earlier because I do biochemistry, is that we are so interconnected, like the nervous system. This brings a set of complexity, which is both positive, as in we get to chat to friends, family, and loved ones, wherever we are across the world, just from a single video call or text message. However, social media and the vast range of knowledge that we can gain online, whether through comparing ourselves to other people, or just looking at what we can buy, can keep us more isolated and lonely. It is true that we live in a pretty mad world, and the only thing that we can control is our own emotions and our own perspectives on anything, and to not go mad ourselves. There is always ever-changing news on social media, and this is also true for traditional media as well. They feed us fear as if it was entertainment, a never-ending pit that just goes down and down forever. Although this can seem good as we are more connected with the wider world, it is very difficult to help or think logically when we're always in such a state of fear. The fear and single-mindedness can be exemplified through the echo chambers of social media. We like to find a mirror of our own opinions, validation from other people, whether happiness, anger, misery, or scares. Yes, I'm calling you out. You've definitely looked online for a symptom that you've had, and the internet tells you you're in impending doom. I think the message that resonated with me the most was the idea of slowing down and being petrified of being alone with my own thoughts. I always found it difficult to be in my room by myself. I would rather be outside, be in a library, or do literally anything else that doesn't involve me being in my own head. And another simpler distraction is doom scrolling through social media. This is a trap that spirals you to compare yourself to other people's lives. You look on their Instagram and look at how curated everything is, but in your head you think that that's what everyone does on a daily basis, when in reality, most days, everyone's doing the same mundane things. You take a glimpse, a snapshot of their lives. You start to drown in the thoughts of, oh, I wish I was less lazy. Or, oh, I wish I could do this. Or, I wish I had this skill. I think in my life, I don't really fear embarrassment. However, there is one thing that I fear more than anything else, and that's regretting not doing anything. Or as people would say, FOMO. I literally wrote in my notes that page 114 is a banger. Although I think the fear of regret is actually a good one to have, because that means I would take many opportunities even if I don't think I'm ready for it, or if I'm too shy to give it a go. The fear of regret is always bigger than anything else for me. However, there is a flip side where it kind of feels like I'm dabbling in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And as the cheesy saying goes, comparison is the thief of joy. And you know what? Comparing yourself to other people is bad, but comparing yourself to a self that doesn't exist in a parallel universe doing extraordinary things is even worse, because it's not even real. Yes, what if I went to this university or another? What would happen if I didn't spend the last 10 hours scrolling through social media and looking at YouTube videos? As the book mentions, the past is already the past. The only thing that we can change is the present. Normally, failures that may seem bad at the time help us learn and grow. And even if that isn't the case, it can redirect us to a path that we prefer. There is a real emphasis on the beauty of making mistakes, which kind of shows that we're human and that we're not robots. Yes, robots also make mistakes, but not like how I make mistakes. Another key theme that is discussed in the book is the idea of technology and how fast it has evolved, where in the year 2000, neither YouTube or WhatsApp existed. And that's crazy. It's crazy, isn't it? It shows that in such a short period of time, that technology has 100% infiltrated our homes. And this could be a good or a bad way. Thank you so much, ChatGPT. Technology doesn't just mean the internet and all the things that make our lives easier. Stuff like watches can also be overloading. Yes, we get stressed that every minute we aren't doing something productive or that we aren't living the best of our lives. Time is slowly ticking away before doomsday. We fall into the trap of counting every minute, hour, and day before we reach a weekend or until we go on a vacation, when in reality, we should embrace the mundane everyday, as these are the days that make up the most of our lives. There is always the sentiment that we don't have enough time to do whatever we like. And yes, that is true. We only have a certain amount of time in the day. However, I think if you genuinely want to do something, you'll somehow make time for it. I specifically don't know how to, but I think you can. It's kind of strange that we live in a time that we have so much, yet we are so unhappy and so discontent. This is normalized through things like LinkedIn, which we only share our best achievements, or the sometimes dehumanizing process of examinations and job interviews. We constantly think towards the future, like reaching the end of the exam period, or getting a promotion, or doing an achievement that we've had on a bucket list for a long time. This is good as it gives us motivation to achieve goals that might otherwise procrastinate over. However, by thinking towards the future so much, we neglect the now. And a lot of the time, such as after an exam period or when you get your results back, or you achieve something that you would think that brings happiness, at the end of the day, you start to feel kind of lost after you've achieved that goal. You wonder, well, what's the purpose now? Because for me, after exam periods, I think I'm going to do so many amazing things. But in reality, I end up just rotting in my room, scrolling through social media, playing video games, and not really realizing what to do next. There is a certain loss of direction. Companies with multi-million-pound backings have hijacked this idea of unhappiness and discontent and used it to sell us products. These idealized products will help us solve the problems that we face in everyday life, and that is not good. They prey on our desire to want more. And by definition, desire is something that we are lacking. We are souls that we're never enough. And the only way to fill that emptiness is to buy more things. Which, guess what? Means that the companies get more money. The most sacred thing right now that even billion-dollar companies cannot hijack is our sleep. Well, I mean, you've heard of Pokemon Sleep. But this is kind of the idea of shower thoughts. When we suddenly become enlightened or understand something, when we're not berated by distraction. Although it's difficult, I think this book highlights the idea that we are, in fact, only human. I think that we need to be kinder to ourselves, to other people, and knowing that although we may not be able to change the world completely, the way that we perceive the world can change the way that we react to any situation. Although the world, such as education and parents, may think they know what's best for you, there are many times in our lives that we have to think for ourselves and see if we are truly happy or we're just following the roadmap set out by other people. We have to constantly change and adapt throughout our lives. Truly, we were all born perfect. And although the world may be a place of wanting, a place that we make mistakes, but we have to remember that we're only human and all we can do is learn from them. Thank you. Bye.